They often go unnoticed. Students who have problems with word recognition and poor spelling.
Well, dyslexia is trouble with reading, trouble with words, trouble with writing, and it looks a little bit different for each child, but they all have things in common. They struggle to learn to read.
These parents are pushing for change. They came from across the state to share their stories of frustration and hopefully get lawmakers to listen.
It wasn't working, and I would go to the school and there's something wrong, and they kept on insisting she was fine.
I knew something was wrong early on. I would go to my mom every day after school. Like, this was in second grade, and I would say, "Mom, I can't read this."
The group Decoding Dyslexia Maryland is supporting 2 bills that would require colleges to go a step further in preparing teachers for the classroom.
If teachers don't have the knowledge about the science of reading, then they can't recognize why a child is having difficulty, and then they won't know what to do to help that child learn how to read.
And to keep them from falling behind is an issue the group says is now being recognized by more and more Maryland parents.
She can get accommodations and services, but if it's not geared towards dyslexia, a multisensory reading approach, then they won't progress.
Parents say they'll continue to look for signs of improvement from their children and from those who can help make a difference. Now, both dyslexia bills are set for hearings in Annapolis later this month. Live in the studio, Tim Tootin, WBAL TV 11 News.